Hey, all you youngsters out there, this is your future. For those of you who are new, and there's like only a few of you, I'm retired. See, I wanted to say semi-retired because I still have to work. I still do things because I'm maintaining this shit that you see behind me. See, this I don't own. The bank owns this. They rent it out to me every month for the next 7 years. Well, 6 years, I think now. In exchange for my soul. You know. And it's forcing me to have to work way more than I otherwise would during my retirement. But you're 50, you're not supposed to retire. You're 65, 67. Fuck retire. No, you're not allowed to retire. You gotta work till you die. That's what society's telling you. But I've watched this play out in the lives of many people in throughout the years. You know, my best friend, dead in his early 40s. A couple other friends died at 40, under 40, just turned 40. And they did all the things. You know, they bust their ass 70 hours a week, some of them. And then they die. And everything they worked hard for just gets scavenged, divided, disappears, donated, thrown away. Until all that's left is their memory right here in your fucking head. So I know that this is my fate. You know, some argue that I'm going to live forever. And I don't really want to. I don't want to be 80. I don't want to be 90. You know, I just don't want to suffer when I go. That's all. You know, minimal suffering. Like a good salad. Done. And my goal is actually to leave nothing behind. Because that's what's going to happen anyway. Except the memory. Somebody will remember me. Bunch of people on YouTube, maybe. My girlfriend will remember me because she's a lot younger than me. 17-year age gap there. So I've already told her I'm probably going to die before, you know, in fact, I better die before you. And she keeps saying, no, you got to live to 80, 90. I'm like, are you going to change my diapers and chase me around when I forget who I am? You know? And she insists, yes. And she's a saint if she can do that. She's already a saint, really. Putting up with me saying, I'm retired at 50. Even though I'm broke, I got no money. Which I don't, by the way. My investment account, $1,000. That's all I got. It's all I continue to have, no matter what I do. For some reason, the market just doesn't want me to make money in the market currently. Now, I know I could put money in. I could bust my ass, work the gig economy, and throw a bunch of money in there. And then maybe in 10 years, I'll be rich, just in time to die. Or I can use that money to buy real things that allow me to survive without a job. And that's the way I'm leaning at this point. See this van behind me? I can't afford it. At some point, I'm probably going to lose it, along with any other assets that I really have. And it'll just be me. And I really need to, start preparing for that. See, a lot of people think preparing for retirement is let's get my 401k or let's invest in the market. Let's buy some Bitcoin and watch it go up 800%. Well, I missed the bus. I should have done those things when I was younger. But the time has run out. 50 to 60 is that period where you should retire. Fuck what the system tells you. Because that's when your body is still good enough to do things and your health hasn't collapsed to the point where you're giving all your money and savings that you've accumulated over the years to the medical industry, to the retirement home, to the elderly care facility, which they feed you fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while they cash in your lifetime retirement that you worked hard, you invested, S&P stock number go up. So I've really had to come to terms. I've quit many times. I've already accumulated 5 years of retirement. As in, I quit my job and I went and did what the fuck I wanted for 5 years. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, only now I'm having to make a choice. At some point, this is not sustainable. I don't think. I'm trying. And you're going to see that on this channel because I'm on my way to Canada right now to spend 3 weeks with my girlfriend. I'm not going to make any money except for maybe 20, 30 bucks on YouTube or something like that between now and when I come back. And then when I come back, because the gig economy market is so broken where I'm at in Syracuse, I'm going to have to throw a bed in here, a very uncomfortable bed, because I can't have a lot of stuff because I have to have room to haul things. So I'm going to be full minimalist when I'm in here. I'm still going to bring a coffee maker because I can't do the $8 coffees every day. And I'm going to have to do gig economy, preferably in a nice warm climate. Like I'm definitely heading south. Could end up in Florida because let's face it, I really would like to be in Florida this time of year. But the gig economy there might suck too. So I don't know. It looks good from what I'm seeing when I look. But if I can't make the car payment next month, if I can't pay my credit cards and all that other shit, because I'm in debt. That's why I said I'm broke. If you're in debt, you're broke. Period. If your net worth is a negative number, which mine is, you're broke. It may look like you got money, and I see a whole lot of motherfuckers running around like they got money. And they have to work 70 hours a week to keep looking like they got money, but at the end of the day, they don't really have the money because their debt is outpaced their labor. Their stagnant wages. Yet here I am on the cusp of broke. My options: go broke, lose the van, go bankrupt essentially, or get back in a truck. Now, some of you are going to be like, just get in a truck. Just get in a truck. That's society telling you that. I know I don't want to go back. That's the difference this time. I'm 100% certain I'd rather be homeless with a backpack and a tent or standing on the side of the road with a sign that says, "Can I have some food, please?" I'd rather do that because at least that's on my own terms than go back in that truck. That's how bad it is out there. And then I'm looking and I'm seeing the freight recession's gotten worse since I quit. So there's no money there anyway. You give all your time and you'll maybe make 700, 800 a week because of the freight recession. If that. If you're an owner-operator, you might as well go bankrupt now. So I have to go back to some of my old ways. Now, if you go earlier in my channel, you'll see there was a phase that I have to bring back. You know that phase where I strapped a backpack to my ass and walked around in the woods? I think I need to exercise that muscle this year. So when the weather breaks, or if I'm in a place that's warm, I plan on bringing a backpack with me when I go doing my gig economy and starting to hike and get back in shape. And all doing this, and when cost of living is through the roof and food prices are off the charts, like there's still cheap food to be had. And that's how you got to look at it. Like I can still go in the frozen food section and find calories for $5. I say find calories because it's not exactly the most enjoyable food, if it's even food. But it'll keep you alive. And I only need to be kept alive for another 10, 15 years or so. So, and I hope I'm not doomed to live to my 80s. I mean, what would be the reason other than being around longer for my girlfriend, who would be forced to take care of me at that point? Because I'm not going to have any retirement or any of that shit. You're going to have to drop my ass off at the VA. That's what's going to happen. I earned that. That's probably my elderly retirement destiny if my girlfriend decides she's had enough of me. And I have, this is on my mind because I'm at that point where I have to make a decision financially. And as lovely and luxurious as it would be to live in this thing, it's not going to be possible if I can't afford it. So all together, without the fuel cost or the maintenance cost, this is $1,000 a month that I have to pay. That's between the insurance, which you're required to have full coverage, and the car payment itself. $1,000 a month for the next 6 years. Sounds like a prison sentence. That's not including the maintenance. At some point, the tires on this are going to need to be replaced. And I don't know if you've kept an eye on the inflation there, but probably looking at $400 to $500 per tire, which is ridiculous. Especially since I know how they manufacture and recycle tires. But that's where we're at with that. Yeah. So you could probably add another probably $200 a month, $300 a month for maintenance costs. Then you got fuel. So all told, it's still cheaper to rent an apartment than it is to live in a vehicle, unless your vehicle doesn't move and doesn't run. At that point, I might as well have a tent. Now, homelessness has been criminalized. That's the other thing. When I go out and do this gig economy and I'm sleeping in here, I could get the knock. And one of the things I'm pissed off at Trump for is outlawing van life and all that other shit and homelessness, because he's targeting these places where it's out of control. But at the end of the day, you've made at the end of the day, the prices of everything are unsustainably bad, and you've done really nothing to. In fact, I would argue with Trump getting behind AI, and we're getting a little political here because I know I'm a libertarian. I hate the left, and I'm not a big fan of what's going on with Trump lately. But if I had to choose, I still would choose Trump. You get what you voted for. Fucking smug assholes. But anyways, one of the things I'm pissed at him about, aside from increasing our cost of living dramatically by getting behind this AI bullshit, is he's criminalizing federally, on a federal level, the ability to sleep in your vehicle or camp or do any of those things. And that's a big thing. If you watch van lifers at all, that's a big concern in that community. And there's more people living in vehicles and tents than ever now because of the cost of living crisis. And I am currently fortunate in my circumstances. I have a room at my mother's house I can sleep in. And my girlfriend doesn't seem to be bothered when I'm broke as fuck living at her house. So while I have those options, I still need to prepare just in case I don't have those options. That's what I'm looking at now. Now, some of you would be like, just keep working, bust your ass 70 hours a week and put it all in investments and watch it grow and get your Bitcoin and your silver and your gold and your fucking bullshit. That's all a fucking Ponzi scheme at this point. So yeah, you might be successful with that. Try it now. Try building from like nothing, starting right now. How long do you think it would take you when you have AI trading? When no matter what you do in the market, it moves against you and stays that way no matter how patient you try to be. Which, with 10 to 15 years of life left, give or take, that's an incredible amount of patience. It's an incredible amount of putting all that labor in, all that time that just goes right out the window. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have is time. Those numbers, they don't mean shit. All right? So you might be Bitcoin rich. At any time, the government could come in and take that away from you for whatever fucking reason they feel like it. I don't feel like we have the stability where your ownership is not in jeopardy at this point. You own a house? Well, guess what? No, you don't. You got to pay taxes on that, property taxes. And if you don't pay those property taxes, what happens? And what if they keep raising them on you? Yeah. What if they raise them so high you can't afford your property taxes? What happens to your house then? For all you lefties out there. Yeah, no ownership then. It's just what you want, isn't it? Socialism. You will own nothing. And you already own nothing, I feel like. You just haven't realized it yet. Unless you're living in your own property on your own land and you pay zero taxes on that land. And there might be a few places left in this country where you can do that. Feel free to leave them in the comments below. But if you own something and you have to pay taxes to own it, like some states are so bad that you have to pay taxes on your vehicle that you own, even if you paid it off every year. I think that's Virginia. So even if you do own shit, you don't own shit. And you don't keep up with them property taxes, guess who's going to own your shit? So there's that. That's why they don't want you to live in vehicles or off the grid or homestead. And by the way, my feed is filled up. I don't know why, with like homesteading, homeless videos, people living in tents full time. Like I've been seeing a lot of that in my feed. And it's kind of inspired my talk a little. It's like maybe I should be prepared for that in case it happens. And you get, it's probably just good stewardship to take a look at your life every now and then and say, what happens if I lose everything? What happens if it's all gone and I can't get it back? And try and prepare for that as best you can. No guarantees, no matter what you do. So you're going to start seeing me getting my ass out on the trail at age 50. Start working those survival muscles again that I got pretty far with before. Spending a couple weeks or a week at a time out in the wilderness with just water and a dream. Maybe getting to the point of surviving and just kind of looking at, and if I don't get back in a truck, which I'm not going to, I'm going to stubbornly die on this hill. I have to look at life as if I'm in the woods. Even though I'm in the city or wandering around, I have to look at what do I need to survive today and think about, because when you're in the woods, I can tell you from experience, that's how you're thinking about it. You're not forward thinking. You're thinking the 2, maybe 3 days out, because it's really, you're that on the edge of you could die out there. Obviously, there's a lot more safety nets just being in civilization in general. But you still should look at it like, okay, I got food covered today, I got shelter, I've got all of this, and I probably have got those things for this amount of time if all things stopped. If your job is gone, suddenly your investments are disappeared, your bank account got froze, you got to think about these things because I feel like things are going downhill. And if all of those things happened, what would you do? Like the grid went down, all your fucking bank accounts are frozen. You don't have an ounce of cash because nobody's using cash anymore. And even if you do use cash, it's probably going to be worthless if it collapses Venezuelan style at some point. And what would you do then? Well, if you don't have things to survive, the way to get water, food, shelter, warmth, all of those things, or the ability to know how to make those things happen in nature, then you're fucked. You're going to be out there in the society breaking down instead of just saying, well, we knew this was coming. So does that mean I'm a prepper now? No, it's a shift in retirement goals. If I want to retire right now in my 50s, I'm going to have to learn to survive with less, to have less. I'm probably going to sell off a lot of stuff that I don't use anymore, by the way. I still have a lot of things I could sell, even though the resale market has been abysmal because everybody's greedy and nobody wants to leave any meat on the bone anymore. Goodwill's charging eBay prices. But that doesn't mean I can't take advantage of that by selling stuff that I have that a reseller would snag up. So, there's that. As long as I'm not greedy, that'll give me more money and then use that to, get my backpack up to speed, make sure I got a backpacker tent because I gave my backpacker tent to Steve. Then when he died, I gave it to his son. I loaned it to him, but I decided that maybe his son ought to have it. And, but yeah, just start getting my shit together. I feel like that's where we're at is getting my shit together. Maybe I'll never use it. Maybe I'll live this comfortable life. Maybe I'll have this van that whole 7 years and maybe I'll get out there and I'll make a lot of money on the gig economy by traveling, and the only way that you can be homeless now, by the way, if you're ever, you should think about it, even if it's not going to happen. My girlfriend's going to laugh at me. Like, you're not going to be homeless. My mother's going to say, no, you're not going to be homeless. I want to be prepared if it happens. That's all. I want to, I've kind of been homeless my whole life, if you think about it. I live out of bags. I've lived in a truck for the majority of 21 years. And it's been a very long time since I had rent or had to pay for a place. I'm not about to start now. So I got to get some shit together in case in case I'm out on the street at some point. Which sounds like a horrible retirement plan, doesn't it? Until you realize that I enjoy being out in the woods with a backpack, That'd be the time where I make a go at the Appalachian Trail, I'm not in shape enough to do that right now, but you can bet your ass if everything fell apart and I lost everything and I was out on my ass, that'd be where I'd go, probably. Would I make it? I don't know. But we'll see. I'm still fairly resourceful. I'm still got income streams, so I'm not desolate or destitute. I don't feel like even if I end up in a backpack, with nothing, I still feel like I'd be able to make content, make money, and have little income streams going. Do gigs, seasonal work, what have you. But I'm done giving away my freedom for the next 10 years. This is my retirement time. And I know if I don't take this time, I'm not going to have any. I'm 100% certain. If I don't retire now, there is no retirement. You know what? I'm not okay with that. I'm not giving my fucking time away anymore to these fucking billionaires. Supporting a system that doesn't care about me. And it won't care about me when I'm gone either. You know? I gave all these years of service with nothing to really show for it. Part of that's my fault. I didn't invest properly. But I also didn't get paid enough to invest properly to be thinking about it. And always society was pushing me to consume and buy things I can't afford and all of those things that they do to everyone. You know, I shouldn't have been allowed to buy this van, financially speaking, but they did it. And they charged me an arm and a leg for it. Just for it's a used van. When I bought it, it was insanely overpriced. Like, I paid new vehicle prices for a 3-year-old van. Imagine if I had bought a brand new one. Well, it's not going to matter if it ends up in the repo lot. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking I need to prepare if I'm going to continue my retirement. And clearly, retirement doesn't mean sitting on my ass. I'm still going to have to do some work to survive in the gig economy. Yeah. The gig economy is bullshit. You know, and there's always going to be some smug motherfuckers. So let me just address you smug motherfuckers that leave these comments sometimes that piss me off. Because you did it this way. And, oh, you invested. How's your lines in the fucking spreadsheet going? And fuck you. All right? Fuck you. How much time do you have? How much time did you give up to invest that money? Do you own everything? You don't have to pay property tax and all of that shit? Do you own it? Are you still slaving away for the man? Do you have to get up early every morning and go work a job you fucking hate to buy shit you don't need that you can't afford? You're already spending money that's further down the line. All the while, the value of that money you grew is being shaved all the way down as if you never fucking invested in the first place. You know, there are exceptions to the rule, and I'm by no means advocating that anybody do the stupid shit I'm doing. You know, there's 2 ways to get value out of it. Either you're broke at age 50 like me and you want to retire, or maybe you're 65 already and you're still broke and want to retire. And you still have to go to Walmart every day and work in the greeting line and be like, hey, let me see your receipt, motherfucker. You know? Or now you got to walk around and unlock all the shit because there's so much stolen shit that, you know, nobody can fucking just pick something up off the shelf. Remember those days? Now you got to call somebody. Oh, can I get this bottle of shampoo? Fuck. That's how bad it is. That's why you got me thinking that I got to get a fucking tent. I got to have backpacking skills. I got to have ways to boil water and those kinds of things. You know, that's how bad it is, you know? And while y'all are fighting about politics, you should be really thinking about how you're going to live after this collapses. It's going to collapse, I feel like. You know, the more and more I'm out here, the more I look around, it don't matter if I go work 70 hours a week or if I sit on my ass for the next 10 years. It don't matter. I'm going to end up in the same place. No matter what you did. Might end up in the same place. I hope you're prepared for that. Especially if you got money and you have a savings and you have a retirement, you should definitely prepare for the eventuality of what happens if it all goes down. You know, AI's so power hungry, our grid could collapse. You know, well, the money isn't doing you no good if you can't fucking get it, right? Bitcoin, that's going to be worthless if you can't access it or if the grid's down, you know, or If the government gets so desperate they take all your assets, that could happen. You see, you told me that if you told me that 10 years ago, I thought you were nutty. But after seeing what Canada did with the truckers, it made me realize that at any moment you could be debanked and have your money taken from you. Just depends on who's in power. Just depends on the political motivations of the day and whether or not you fit into their narrative or whether or not you're speaking the right things. These are all possibilities. I feel like I should be prepared for that. So, while I'm not homeless yet, I'm going to be pretending to be for 3 weeks to make money to pay for to pay for the van that I'm taking to go make. It's like a sick little cycle where I'm having to make money to pay for the van so that I could go and make more money with the van. It's like a hamster wheel. Where if I didn't have this van, I wouldn't have to work hardly at all. I could probably get by just doing YouTube content if I didn't have this van. But yet here I sit in it. This is my slave master. This is the whip on my back. And it's not working anymore. If they take the van, so be it. I'm still trying to keep it. And the society and my girlfriend, everyone in my life is pressuring me to keep this van. When the only way I think I could sustainably keep this van is to hop in a truck again. It's not an option. It used to be an option. But with the way the world is, the way society is, the way everyone's just trying to get rich off your ass, turns out, if you don't go to work every day, guess what? You don't pay taxes that day. Oh, it's magical. You don't earn money? You know, you're able to get through the day without spending shit. That's another key thing. 0 spend days. I'm finding, well, I cannot make my income go up and the prices are all the way up. I can control what I buy and don't buy. You know, I'm still doing the work on demand thing too. Like if I want to go and get one of those $14 fast food meals, well, I got to go and do a delivery or two before I get there. I've been relying a lot on Costco when I'm out and about, getting them $1.50 hot dogs. But I know that someday Costco is going to be like, hey, we're taking a bath on these hot dogs here. You know, they're probably worth about $8 currently, and we're giving away for $1.50 along with a drink. Not that you can call the soda machine a drink. So yeah, I need to continue that. Survival. Can I afford to eat a ribeye? What do I have to do time-wise? Invest how much time to have a ribeye, and is it worth it? Or is it better to just go to the frozen food section and get something for like $5? Throw it in a microwave. Yeah, it's not pleasant. But when you're dropped in the woods and you got to survive, you don't eat because it tastes good. You eat to survive. You ever watch Alone or Naked and Afraid? Do you think they're having enjoyment when they find food? No. Probably tastes like ass. They eat it so they don't die. And I think if you look at our life through that lens, surviving in this environment isn't quite as bad as it could be. You know, it's, in fact, I would say it's almost easy compared to being just dropped in the woods. Being dropped in the woods is hard mode. But at the end of the day, there's one other thing that I covet the most and want to hold on to. that I've achieved. It's called freedom. So yeah, I might not be free to the point where I'm still paying for this fucking thing. But if they take it away, that's complete freedom then. I don't have to slave away to feed the billionaires. I just have to feed myself. I just have to worry about my shelter, my sleep, those things. And like I said, I'm not in dire straits. I'm in a good position right now. My needs are being met, even if I go broke, like bankrupt. But don't know. Can't predict the future. So this next phase is kind of the last phase before I lose this van. If I can't make the gig economy sustainable to where I can pay this payment and I'm unwilling to get back in a truck, then this van's going to go bye-bye. And then that backpack's going to come in really handy, isn't it? But we'll see. We'll see how it works. I made it through another month. I'm going to make it through this whole fucking year. And we'll see where we're at. You might just be watching the downfall. Oh, look at him. He's walking around in the woods with nothing. He's looking skinny and shit because he can't eat. You know, could get to that level, but I don't think it's going to. And I'm sure society will pressure me to get back in the truck. It's completely alien to have freedom and time. And that's what I want. And you know what? It doesn't cost anything to get my time. What I do during that time, that's what can cost money. But if you choose wisely what you spend your money on, you'll find you can get by very cheaply. You know, if you don't eat for flavor and you eat for survival, you can still eat cheap currently. Are you going to have the best health? Probably not. Are you going to live? Probably. It's the other thing. If you're in the woods, dropped in the woods. And I'm telling you, looking at modern life through that lens, pretend you're in the woods. What would you do? You would try and find food. And it didn't matter what it tastes like. Question is your calorie budget. Do you take in more calories than you expend to get the calories? That's basic survival. Turns out it's not hard to do when you have Walmarts and supermarkets. But I'm clearly not starving yet. All right. So I've been just completely musing about the possibility of, what can happen if I don't get back in the truck. And as you know, I tend to think in extremes. When I'm walking through the woods, I'm constantly talking about how I'm going to die. And I'm definitely, the older I get, the more mortality is on my mind, as most of us, I'm sure, can relate, because most of my audience is older. I gotta have this retirement. Sink or swim. I gotta take my chance. It's too easy to hop back in a truck and be back in the hamster wheel of the system, making $1,200 a week and spending most of it on food while you're out there anyway. So you're really only taking home $600-700 a week. And shrinking. All the while inflation. And if you make more than $1,200 a week gross, guess what? The government's going to take all the extra. So where's the motive there? Oh, you can make $2,500 a week at this trucking company, but you're still only going to take home $1,200 to $1,400 of it or less. And then that amount is going to get inflated away in buying power. So you're really, $1,200 for a week now is maybe what used to be $700 or $800 of buying power, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Shit. Inflation's really quick. You know what doesn't change when you're broke? Time. We give our time away. We sell it to the lowest bidder. Well, I'm done with that. I'm going to take my time back instead of selling it to the lowest bidder. And I know that at some point it might mean I lose this vehicle. This vehicle is the only anchor I have, really, and a couple credit cards. Easily bankruptable. But will this be the broke 50-year-old bankrupt retirement video, or will somehow I pull something out of my ass income stream wise that'll sustain me, that'll keep this going? Because everything's been fucking destroyed monetarily, with AI and all the bullshit. Everybody wants to be a content creator, so the market's saturated, so there's no money to be had on YouTube anymore. Everything's just not looking good for all the creative ways I want to do it. Yeah, I could learn to code, make a video game. That industry's completely fucking a dumpster fire right now. it's pretty much I got to start thinking more in terms of what can I do to meet my immediate basic needs. And I'm going to share some of the ways I go about it when I hit the road, when I come back. Maybe either my videos will be a cautionary tale on what not to do, or maybe I'll figure something out that might help other people who I know did all the right things, worked their entire fucking life, and end up at the end with nothing and have to keep working. No retirement. And you know what? Before someone says something, because I know everyone's talking politics and arguing with each other now. And they probably didn't stick around long enough in this video to get to this point. But who you vote for don't matter. The people in charge, they're the elites, the billionaires, the huge corporations. There's little things we do here and there to negotiate with them. And that's all your vote really does, is negotiate which corporations are going to win and which corporations are going to lose. But at the end of the day, Democrat, Republican, they don't give a fuck. Nobody does. I've said it over and over again, and I always get, you get what you voted for. Trump. The Trump derangements is off the chart. I'm not a Trump fan, by the way, but I definitely wasn't a Biden fan, and this economy has been going this direction. If you can go back and through my videos, you'll see it. It's been headed in this direction through multiple presidents. Throughout my lifetime, we've been on this path that has led our economy here. And nobody is going to rescue you that you vote for. I don't care if they suck you off. They are fucking lying. They work for the corporations. That's who they're beholden to. Us little plebs out here, they don't even want us to be in a van anymore. They don't want us to be able to have the freedom to not work. They want you to slave away, give them all of your time, and you're essentially a battery in the matrix. That's what they want from you. And if you're not a good battery in the matrix, they're going to flush you, just like they did in that fucking movie, which may be more realistic than we realize. All right. That's it for this joyful video. Please like and subscribe for more shit, and I'll make more shit. Thank you to my channel members. There will be one exclusive video a month for my channel members. I don't know what my next one's going to be about. So those of you who've signed up, that's what I'm doing so far. If enough people sign up, then maybe I'll make podcasts, couple hour audio focused. I mean, there'll be video with it, but it'll be just video of my face, kind of like this. It'd be like a couple hours of this with maybe some reaction content and some other shit. Stuff that I can invest a lot of time and put together. Unless I'm, well, even if I am, I'm always going to have a camera. I've got cameras enough that'll last me the rest of my life. And I always got some way of keeping myself on the internet. So those two ingredients are all it takes for me to make videos here and some editing. I've got enough computers and laptops for now. Hopefully they last me the next 10 to 15 years, which they should. But I'm going to keep making videos, make a little bit of money off of YouTube. And for those of you who've contributed and done super chats and done super thanks and all of that, I realize YouTube's taken 30%, but that's, I think that's the only reason they don't delete me. Is they get their cut. So have a nice motherfucking day and shit. And seriously, without being a prepper, it couldn't hurt to have a bug out bag. A backpack that you can throw on your ass and walk out the door and survive with for a long time. Should have a water filter, all kinds of. We'll get into that in another video, But I'm rebuilding my backpack. It's been sitting in my closet. Need to dust that shit off. Put a new backpacker 10 in it. And get it ready for when the apocalypse fucking happens. Which apparently has already started in Minnesota.